So having been a butcher for 6 years, one thing I know is that if people knew what happened in the production of their food, they wouldn't eat meat. So one of the things that we would hit every day was pus nodules, tumors, cysts. It was something that we would hit on a daily basis. Having worked in a supermarket chain, I saw this firsthand every single day. So here's one that's running along the shoulder blade. Oh.
Yeah.
That is what I remember in the butchery. It comes out like a thick toothpaste. I remember that every single day.
That's interesting to hear you had that experience all the way over there, because in the UK, exactly the same.
Yeah.
We would see that on a daily basis. Those people who say it's not my butcher does this, they need to open their eyes, because if their butcher's being honest with them, we know.
Yeah.
We both know. And any honest butcher's going to admit it. They're not going to want to tell the public because it's going to affect their business. But it is a fact.
And me working in multiple butcheries, I saw these common trends across the board. So I know that it wasn't just isolated to the one that I was working in. It was across the board for me.
One cheat we used to have is we'd perhaps add some fresh blood, maybe from a vac pack seal or from any other meat product. And you can see here we've got the one mince that's fresher than the other, so in order to be able to continue to sell that, we'd maybe add a little bit of colour to it with some little bit of blood. Yeah, so you can see the meat here all starting to begin to look the same colour, so you're losing the brown and it's becoming redder and redder, and if you continue to mix that, or if you minced it again, put it through the mincer, it'll come out bright, shiny and fresh looking, so you can continue to sell it as fresh.
That was the number one way to increase yield. So customers would think they're getting something fresh, but very often it would be cycles of old mince that have been run through again and again and again with fresh stuff to basically disguise the product in order to sell it.
And so we see that carnivores, the meat eaters, are optimized for predation. Herbivores, as I said before, are optimized for foraging. I've already covered this. Carnivores, because of this, carnivores do not go out and look for the biggest, strongest, most robust antelope on the savannah. Why? Because that antelope is likely to outrun them. If they catch up with it, it is likely to injure them so that they won't be able to hunt anymore. So instead, they look for the weak, the diseased, the defective, or the stupid ones, because those are the ones that are easier to catch. But the herbivores, they don't want the defective, the dried out, the broken down plants, because those plants are not nutritious. Instead, they look for lush, verdant, healthy, and one you can think of it as beautiful food. Well, this is important because when you have a creature that preys on other creatures using this herbivore mentality, that is looking for the biggest, the best, the healthiest, what ends up happening is that it depletes the gene pool of that prey species and drives them toward extinction. And yesterday, so for this reason, all true predator species look for what can be thought of as ugly food. They want food that requires a minimum expenditure of energy to procure. That is why they look for the lame ones, the old ones, the diseased ones, or the very young. They do not waste time chasing the fittest, healthiest members of their prey species, because again, they also look for food that's already dead, because they have the physiology that allows them to eat rotting tissue without any injury. And while we may find it disgusting to think of eating a rotting carcass, the fact is the energy content of a rotting carcass is exactly the same as that of a fresh one. The energy content of a massive tumor is exactly the same as healthy tissue. So they don't mind eating an animal with cancer, because that animal is going to provide for them. Number one, it's going to be easier for them to catch. Number two, it provides the same amount of energy as an animal without a disease.